Okay, chat, so if you've stuck around my channel for long enough, you'll know that I'm definitely not the most high-efforted builder, and I'm not one to care about my builds, but today, that's all gonna change. We're gonna build my dream house in Bloxburg. And the goals are pretty simple. I'm supposed to turn this entire plot of land into whatever I want my house to be in the future, but obviously Bloxburg probably isn't the best way to do this, but I'm gonna try to do this anyways. And to do this, I'm probably gonna record all of this off camera so that way I can actually concentrate, and most of the video is gonna be voiced over, but hopefully that's not gonna be too big of an issue. But anyways, I've got two main goals for this: actually try on the build and try and make it cost over 2 mil, and I've got a bunch of these people outside my plot just watching me do this, so that'll be fun. Okay, so to start off, I've already got some of these prefabricated windows and doors and floor colors, wall colors, textures, and this little support thing that I've got here already completed, because I've planned this out a little on my summer vacation, but I haven't really, you know, brought it to perfection. But that's the plan today. And to break it down into simple terms, it's literally structurals and basic shapes, and then the new wall trim, or the wall decor thing, the bricks. Anyways, for the main build, I kind of wanted to build a traditional looking craftsman style home, but I also wanted to incorporate some farmhouse features, because those have been the two main homes that I've been building lately, and those are the two types of homes that I kind of veer towards. So that was the main goal for this house. I've basically used all of the build hacks and build techniques that I've used in the past couple of videos, and I've put them to use in this build, but probably to a greater extent of detail. I don't know, this is all the boring stuff, and you probably don't want to watch me do this because it's so repetitive. I've done this so many times before. What you probably want to see me do is the realistic trees, and then probably some of the extra details when it comes to actually building the house and the shape of it. And for anyone that really wants to build this for themselves, I'll probably put up a speed build on my second channel that's called I think Faulty Live. I completely forgot because I haven't posted on that in a year, but that's okay. And if you're wondering why most of this has been recorded without me speaking over it, it's because I concentrate a lot better when I'm recording, and I don't have to focus on actually providing commentary, because even if I do provide commentary, it's mostly about the build, and nobody really wants to listen to that. So I figured it'd be better if I just talked over this when I just speed it up or whatever, like I am doing now. And since I really do want to try and put a bit of effort into this build, I thought that was the best way to go about doing this, because if I were to talk for an hour or 2 hours straight, I'm gonna lose focus, and I'm also not gonna want to talk. Like yesterday, I was recording with a certain someone, and then the vibe just completely fell off. So I didn't really want to do that with this house, because I really wanted this to turn out looking pretty decent. I also split up the recordings into multiple parts, so this way I could focus at many different points in time, because if I were to do this all in one sitting, I would end up putting a lot less effort in at the end of the recording rather than at the beginning, and you'll see a giant change in the style of building. So this way I could kind of keep motivated every single time that I went to work on this house. And to be honest, most of the footage after this only amounts to 2 hours, so that is kind of impressive that I managed to put this together in 2 hours. See, for most people, no, well, it takes 10 hours to build a masterpiece like this. But yeah, I was kind of impressed with how quickly I put this together and how well it came out in the end. Like, the ideas were just flowing into my brain, and my brain's not that big, so this was huge for me. Anyways, at the time you're probably watching this video, I've come back from my vacation, my 4-week vacation to Hong Kong, and so you could probably expect a vlog or two that comes out from all the footage that I gathered over there, but I don't know how well I'm gonna be able to edit that. Like, there are so many clips that are just random, and I don't know how I'm supposed to bring those together, but I'm sure I'll find a way. So I guess this is like my return after taking 2 weeks off of YouTube, which was probably really nice for you because you didn't have to listen to me yap. Or I don't really yap, so I don't know how to put that. I guess I'm just naturally annoying, but it's okay, we move. Anyways, coming back, I'm probably gonna ramp up the amount of uploads that I put into 1 month, but I don't know if that's gonna leave me burnt out. See, I'm trying to approach my videos with a lot more effort than I normally do, because before this, I kind of felt like I was just producing videos on end without really thinking too much about what goes into it, and then about the editing process as well. I don't know, when I do my editing, it's so simple. I finish it in 2 hours, or maybe an hour even. Quick interruption before I forget, this part was so annoying to paint. Like, I had to go into Shift P mode and then move around just to paint these mini structurals inside the window. But in the end, it looked pretty good, so I guess it was worth it. But returning to the upload schedule, I'm probably gonna have 2 uploads a week, one on Wednesday and one on Saturday. And I'm gonna try this for at least 2 months and see how that goes. And most of the videos that I've planned so far are pretty much ones that I really want to do. So they're not like garbage video ideas, but they are kind of garbage video ideas if you think about it. Like, one of them is rating homes, and that's so easy to do. But at the same time, the way my summer's laid out doesn't allow me to stick by my computer and actually focus on doing YouTube, because my workstation's far away from home now, so I won't be able to stay here and work on that. But anyways, I'm gonna try to keep my upload schedule as consistent as I possibly can before school starts up again in September. As of now, I finished my first year in architecture, and it honestly hasn't been too bad. But then again, it's like first year, so like, I don't know, you're not supposed to be stressed out in first year. But apparently second year is supposed to be really difficult, and a lot of you guys are looking for a day in the life of an architecture student, so I don't know if I'll be able to juggle that, but I'll try to produce what I can. I feel like that would be a cool vlog to make, especially for those of you who do want to pursue architecture, but I don't really recommend it. And one of the reasons for that is because the pay when you get into the workforce is not that good, and you'll also get your ideas criticized and often shot down by whatever professors say, and basically anyone that's criticizing your work. I don't know if you can hear the cops outside, but the cops are outside again. Anyways, enough with the architecture school talk. I think we're getting into the juicy part of the build where I do start working on the custom trees. But if you do want to hear me talk about architecture stuff, I'll probably do that another time, or maybe later in the video, or maybe even in the vlog if I end up making one. But anyways, now is not the time, and we're working on trees. And honestly, making this tree was kind of confusing, but it got easier to understand as I kept using the basic shapes and just moving them with the transform tool. Basically, when you make a tree, you make a bunch of segments and you rotate it, and it just makes a really nice organic shape. When I was making this tree, I was trying to go for something not very symmetrical. Like I said, organic shapes and just branching off into all different directions. And then as for the tree leaves, I used decals, and then I used the same decal I used in the New York City build. But this part that's sped up kind of does all of the talking that needs to be done. Like, it's literally just me making custom branches and then just moving leaves around to make it look like the tree is full and plump. I don't know if that's a good descriptor for making a tree, but I guess we'll continue with that. Anyways, building it was kind of annoying, I'm not gonna lie, because there were a bunch of floating pieces just to move around and try to get the tree looking round and natural. But in the end, I got a shape that I was pretty happy with. This wasn't the only type of tree that I ended up making. I made a smaller version of this as well, but it followed the same process. And then this is when I was starting to realize that making custom trees costs a lot. And with the new Bloxburg update, I don't think money is that easy to get anymore, but I've been grinding Fisherman and bloxburg for a bit while I was on vacation, which probably isn't the best use of my vacation time, but anyways, that's where all the money's coming from. So since the trees cost a bit too much, I tried to use a bit of in-game items like bushes and dirt piles and those grass sprouts. I guess that forms a bit of a blend between realism and that feeling that it's still built in Bloxburg, which is something I really wanted to achieve with this build, and I'm happy with how it turned out. And this is also the moment I realized I was really locked in, because I would never usually spend this much time working on the details, the slight details that go on the exterior of a build. I mean, I love doing exteriors, don't get me wrong, but this was crazy. I think this entire bit of footage without being sped up ended up being 46 minutes long, and then after this I still had the entire backside of the house to work on, which was another 46 minutes itself. So these 2 segments were the main portions of my building process. But yeah, once I got the trees done, I could basically work on all of the other gardening aspects of the build. And when it comes to gardening, I love gardening because it brings the house together. If you were to slap a house onto an empty plot of land with no gardening, it would look like absolute dog shit. But if you put vegetation and other stuff on it, then it becomes a masterpiece. But that's just my way of thinking. I don't know if you guys see the same vision, but anyways, once I was finished with the 2 trees, I just copied and pasted them around the entire house once again. And then around the base of most of these trees, I just spammed a bunch of other gardening bushes, flowers, dirt piles. It was a very repetitive process, but in the end, it turned out really good. So so I was happy with what I was building. Anyways, it was around this time that I was kind of running out of ideas for what to do with the house, or just the gardening bit of it at least. So I tried experimenting a little by changing the decal colors and shades. And then I also remembered this one thing that I used to do with the roofs in the ground to give the terrain around the house a little bit more shape than it normally does, especially with how flat it is. But I honestly have no idea how to feel about this. I don't know. Let me know in the comment section below what you think. I do think it adds a bit to the house, but I don't know if it's really necessary. But anyways, I ended up adding a bit of fencing around the entire build as well. And I think this gave the entire build that sense of seclusion from the rest of the neighborhood. Because, you know, you got all those rustic fences and it looks like this house belongs on a farm or the countryside. And I really like that because it made it seem private. And I guess that's something I kind of look for in my dream house. As long as there's internet, you know, I'm set. But anyways, I finished touching the gardening by moving around the trees and giving them a slight angle, because trees don't grow straight up and they actually kind of grow on an angle. So I thought this was a nice feature to add. But once I was finished with that, I just added a bit more bloxburg items, like the giant puffy tree or whatever it's called. I don't pay attention to bloxburg item names, but the puffy tree. And then this basically concluded everything I needed to do in this section of recording. But anyways, moving on, this was the part where I realized that lighting literally means everything. And I set the time to 7 a.m. in the bloxburg neighborhood, and it cast a really nice shadow on the house. And I don't know, it was like the cherry on top. But anyways, it's probably not the best to build in this lighting because it's kind of hard to see whatever's cast under the shadow, especially when I'm working on the back. So I do eventually change this back, but for the tour I'll definitely remember to put on the lighting. Anyways, I started a new recording with the back, and I wanted to add this chimney with a little curve on it, so it's not your average old chimney that I usually do in any of my builds. It's got curvature, and who doesn't love a little bit of curve? I kind of had a hard time thinking about what I wanted in the backyard. I took a lot of inspiration from other builders like Luke Eocas, or I just call him Lucas, and then a bunch of other Twitter builders, but ultimately I didn't even really use those ideas or build hacks, and I just went with my own flow. As you can see, I'm kind of experimenting with some of the doors, and I realized they added this new door that opened kind of weird, but you know, it looked good, or it looked like it fit the house, so I might as well use it. So to continue with the backyard, I started moving some of the elements from the front of the house to the back. So that includes like the porch, the stick out window area, and I just basically copied and pasted a bunch of stuff from the front to the back, the usual stuff. So there's not really anything special about the back compared to the front. It's basically all the same. One thing I did forget at the end was to bring the roof support, you know, this curved thing, up to the back for many of the roofs, but that's okay. I'll probably do that off camera. And I had a bit of trouble figuring out what I really wanted to do at the back. Like, did I want to put some vegetation at the back, or did I want like a full blown out backyard? And then there was also the other side of the backyard that had the garage doors that I had to think about, so that was a bit of a challenge. But anyways, as I continued to work on it, I decided to put a pool at the back because, you know, having a pool is pretty nice, but it's probably really costly to maintain. But you know, that's not an issue in Bloxburg. And then I just copied a bunch of the other gardening aspects from the front to the back. A lot of the back is just copying and pasting, I'm not gonna lie, so there's not much to really comment on. As you can see, I'm bringing trees from the front to the back, and this kind of hurt my soul as the trees cost a lot. And then I just copied a bunch more gardening onto the side of the home, and then I tried to do something with the vines, but obviously that didn't work because, you know, the vines are kind of weird and you can't move them up and down. And then I just tried to use a bunch of other items, but that also didn't work. But anyways, moving on to the left side of the house, I wanted to use this part as, or I wanted to decorate it as like something has been exiting or entering from this area or this gate, like maybe a truck or wagon, but I honestly had no clue. Like this is the part of the house where you take out your ATV or four-wheeler and you bring it out for a ride, or maybe your snowmobile. But I didn't really end up conveying that really well because obviously there's no snowmobile or ATV, so I just put a bunch of garbage cans at the back. And then just adding a bit more onto the house, I added another nook and cranny here because I thought this wall was kind of empty and I really didn't know how to put windows on it. But anyways, moving on to the main backyard area, I didn't really know what to do with the pool. I just spent quite a bit of time working around it and then just adding a bunch of detail to it. So as you can see, I put like a step ladder and then I put a bunch of these vents around it so water doesn't spill out, but obviously that's not a feature, so it's just like extra detail. Nobody minds extra detail, but it's so useless. But yeah, I played around with this part for a while and I honestly wasn't too happy with anything I was doing up until a certain point. Like at this point I was pretty pretty much done with the entire house, and I really didn't want to work on the backside because nobody's even gonna see the backside. But you know, the backside's also important when it comes to building. You can't just leave it flat like most people do. So I just continued gardening until something genius came to my mind, and something did come to my mind, but it didn't really come to fruition because I was trying to make like a step up place for where you could have like a tiki bar or something. But that did not turn out very well. So I ended up just going for a normal regular bar, one that's kind of modern, and it doesn't really fit the country vibe of the house, but you know, I did it anyways because I can. And this was basically the last thing I really added to this main part of the backyard. The rest of it's just gardening and more fencing, and then maybe some minor details along the path. Also, I kind of did this genius thing with the paths and the flooring so I could have the nice little curve, because you know, that's a cursed path right there and I love doing those. But yeah, just pointing that out. And then for once in my entire YouTube career, I played around with the color wheel until I was happy with a color, and in the end I did not find a color that I was happy with. So that's not been successful, but it'll probably work out eventually. You can tell I'm actually giving effort when I'm touching the color wheel, because I never usually do that, and I probably will never do that again. But you know, it is what it is. And then the rest of this speed build is me working on the backyard because I couldn't find a color scheme or really a layout that satisfied what I wanted. Like, I'm pretty sure half of this entire recording, maybe 20 minutes of it, was dedicated to figuring out this bar at the back with a bit of seating. But once that was done, it was pretty much home stretch, and I was just copying and pasting a bunch of other gardening elements just to make the entire build feel, you know, full. Like, if you zoom out, it looks like the build is complete and it has a reason for being there and it fits in the environment. So yeah, that's what I was doing for the rest of this recording, and that pretty much brings us to the end of the exterior. As for the interior, I haven't really planned out how I'm gonna go about doing that, but I'm probably gonna actually put effort into that, hopefully at least. But I guess we could take a look at the exterior and what we have so far, and probably some of my plans for what I want to do with this. And so that brings us here with the exterior of the house costing $399,641, and it's just the exterior of the house. And honestly, the entire exterior is not even complete. Like, there's so much gardening that I really want to do. Like, I want to keep using these decal trees and maybe add some decal bushes around it just to finish it up a bit more, because right now it's looking good, you know, nice shadows cast on all the nooks and crannies, but you know, it could be better with a bunch of bushes and decal bushes and everything that's not there right now. But anyways, this is what we have for the exterior so far. Nice little runway up to the house, or why did I say runway? This is a driveway. Yeah, nice little driveway up to the house. Double garage doors over here. I might make this usable in the future, maybe. I don't know. I feel like that would make dream house a little more, you know, dreamy, and it'd also make it look like I put a lot more effort into this. Oh, there's people around me. Oh, I hate people. But anyways, house has got some nice shape, a bunch of different roofings. As you can see, we got this sticky outy bit here, and then this part connects nicely. I don't know how I managed to do this, but yeah, it worked out really well. I really love the use of gable roofs here, and as you can see, I don't have the roof supports like I do here on these parts, and that's also something I'll probably touch up between videos, because I'm gonna do an exterior video, which is this one, and then an interior video for another time. But taking a look at the exterior, this is what we have for the backyard as well. The backyard looks really nice. I feel like this is the most I could have honestly done with it. I mean, maybe I could have added a bit more detail, but I'm kind of happy with this as my dream house. Like, I'm happy with the pool, I'm happy with the bar, I'm happy with the seating area. Like, it's got everything. The front looks also very nice, and this is a really good angle of the house, and I'm probably gonna use this for the thumbnail. If not, then I'm probably crazy. But anyways, I guess we could take a quick look at the interior, although there's not much to do with it. I mean, it's pretty large, so there's a lot I could do with this. Oh, look at those sun rays. It's beautiful. Yeah, maybe if I'm feeling ambitious, I'll vault this ceiling, so that way we could have, you know, like a second floor. But at the same time, this roof took a long time to make, and it'll be very challenging to incorporate this hip roof over to here, but we'll see about that. But it would probably add a lot to this part, especially with this roof right here. I could probably vault this and give it some extra depth, but we're gonna have to see again. But anyways, that's pretty much it for the exterior of the dream house, or my dream house. And if you want to build this yourself, I'm gonna upload most of the footage on my second channel, once again, Faulty Live, and make sure you subscribe to stay tuned for part 2. Part 2 might be better.